Hello，大家好。咁呢一集咧，我哋就請咗我哋嘅相熟嘅地產經紀阿 Bruno 先生咧，就問一啲關於里斯本啦、同埋其他地方嘅地產嘅問題，例如樓價啦，我哋大家有啲咩 concern 咧，關於黃金簽證嘅。So now we are obviously facing quite a lot of changes with the golden visa. And a lot of people are very concerned. So there's a few questions I'd like to ask you. Golden visa really exists since 2012. And it seems to me a lot of people out there, especially from overseas, where they don't know the market, they never been to Portugal even, they think there's no real estate market before golden visa. They really, quite a lot of people think, I don't want to be rude because it's not me saying this, but a lot of people said, well, Portugal was a poor country. So how can they afford a real estate market without golden visa? Meaning, is the market going to come completely collapsed? And I would like to talk about what was it like before golden visa.
Hi. Yes, I understand the question. It's a concern naturally from the investors, and I would like to give you the best clarification to you and to all the clients. First of all, the market in Portugal, it's very stable. That is an important thing for the investors. It's mainly because Portugal is not a big country. If we travel, basically, I can give you the perspective of the analysts in the past and for the future, and also my personal opinion based on this. So basically, I can give you the perspective of the analysts, what they think about the market, and also my perspective according to the experience that I've been living in the past 18 years in the real estate market. Traveling a little bit in the past, before golden visa, we had two crises. Basically, in 2008, the big worldwide crisis, the subprime crisis. That crisis was marked mainly because of the financial market. It was strong all over the world. Also in Portugal, there was a big depreciation in that time. The main reason was because the banks, they supported 80 to 90% of the purchases. And suddenly, with this big financial crisis, the banks stopped investing in real estate marketing through mortgages. So there was a big depreciation in that time. 2009, 2010, 2011, the recovery was starting to happen. In 2012, 2013, we had our own crisis of the public debt that also affected the real estate market. After that, we created this program, the Golden Visa program. In that time, the market had a lot of properties to sell. The market basically had a lot of offer, and that creates good opportunities for the investors to buy, because they could easily pick up good opportunities in the market. All this program motivates the investors for immigration purposes, but in the end of the day, the percentage of buyers investing for golden visa, they are not very significant, like I will tell you more ahead. Since we created the program, the Golden Visa program, the main areas of investment had been Lisbon and Porto. Also, Algarve been a choice for some investors. During this time, the market has become very attractive for several investments for golden visa purpose and not for golden visa purposes. Lisbon had and Porto had more or less 22 different nationalities of buyers. All these properties that were been kind of stuck in the market were sold, and nowadays the offer is very leveled. The market is very stable. The demand continue very solid.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
What do you mean by offer? So maybe people didn't understand, like meaning people selling the property?
Basically, the number of properties available in the market. For sale, that's it.
Yeah.
So the properties available for sale were in a big number after 2012, 2013, after we overcome this two crises. Basically, nowadays, the offer is not in a big quantity, so there isn't a big number of properties to sell, and the buyers are in a good number to support the prices. That is why I believe this is one of the things that analysts support to give their opinion in the market. They say that the prices will continue growing in a lower percentage, but they don't see depreciation in the future. Also, my experience tells me the same, because the ingredients to have a depreciation are mainly two. One is the big offer of properties to sell, and the other one is a big decrease of the buyers. Considering that the number of buyers for Golden Visa, considering the period of 2013 until 2019, corresponds to 1% in general in the country.
1%.
1%.
Yeah.
And in Lisbon and Porto, almost 2%. I believe that, imagine that we lose this market of investors, there is not a big argument, there's not a big issue, basically, to create the value, the decrease, depreciation of the real estate. So we can, based on this, we can say that the real estate market in Portugal continue to be very solid to invest. And the residential market mainly is kind of blinded to support any situation that might create some depreciation. So the amount of investment, we can say that they are quite safe in the real estate market.
2%
Yes.
of the real estate market. So the 98%, who are these people who are actually buying the property?
Mainly the buyers nowadays, if we report to 2020, are Portuguese, are residents that are buying and selling. 85 to 90% of the purchases are made by Portuguese. Nowadays, the banks, they have the capacity to finance the purchases in a good level, very different than what happened in the past. The banks nowadays, they are capable to finance the purchases, which give a good situation for the market compared to what happened in the past. So 85 to 90% of the purchases, they are made by Portuguese. So the international market represents around 10 to 15 of the purchases, and a less percentage for Golden Visa. So that doesn't in fact creates a big expression, it's the minority of the purchases are made for Golden Visa, basically.
I think that, just to reiterate, I think it's a surprise at the 2008 crisis, the banks were lending so much money. People, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, where you have hairdressers on, 20k salary, they are actually buying a house for 500k, and that's what happened in the US. I'm not sure about in Portugal, but now you will have to pay how much deposit you have to pay, to secure a loan in
on the client, but 10 up to 30, it's the down payment.
10 up to 30% as for the down payment. So they will have to do a lot of credit check, and they have to be able to afford the apartment, right?
Correct.
And in the past, there was in the US, that people were able to be a landlord, basically, like a multiple property landlord. And even if you watch the movie from the Wolf of Wall Street, or there was another movie, what was it? I think it's called The Money Game or something. I think we talked to you before, with Brad Pitt and with, what was it? I find it fascinating. They were saying they literally visit this city before the crisis came, and they were predicting the crisis is going to crash. And what they did was they look at this, average town in the United States, middle class, and they see a hairdresser say, oh yeah, I have 4 or 5 houses, I'm collecting rent.
Correct.
And they are multiple property landlord.
Yes,
I'm not
correct.
saying that's a wrong thing, but they see alarm bells.
Correct.
And when they visit these houses, a lot of the houses only have leaflet in it. There's no one living in there anymore. They're like, oh my God, like this is going to come in a big way.
Yes.
And people didn't believe them. And they were like, well, you know, you just smell a rat. Where if the owner of a specific house stop paying mortgage payment, the tenant probably still living in there and have no clue. They stop making the payment. But now it's a completely different aspect. Mortgage application is much straighter. They're not loaning out money easily. So this is tighter process, right? If our client invested with us and they buy in Lisbon and other area like South Bay, they're a little bit panicking. They're like, well, what if the golden visa completely vanished? What was going to happen to my investment? That's their major concern. I'm not concerned. Like I didn't buy my property from golden visa, and I'm happily a landlord. So let's talk about our search process. Why are we finding certain property for our client, and why do we think they are good investment, whether we have golden visa or not, and whether it's in Lisbon or not is, to me, like my opinion is there's only one Lisbon, there's only one Porto. Whatever you buy is a capital city, right? And if you buy it within the value, meaning, and it's not inflated, you're not buying a T1 for 600,000 or 700,000. And you're not buying a pre-planned property, a pre-planned product that you cannot predict the market price, 2 or 3 years. To me, you're kind of safe. If you're buying a property for local people, you are secure. And even with a lot of problems, imagine if there is a storm coming with the COVID and everything, you can still protect your rent because there's people needed to places to live. That's my opinion. I don't know what you think. Like, what will happen to our clients' investment?
Basically, I agree with your opinion. Looking to this year, the properties that we've been selling, all of them are located in good residential areas for medium class, in a solid market that been there working since a long time. These properties for investing, for leasing, they will be very attractive for the tenants, for the future tenants. The residential market, it is more strong to support any kind of change. Portugal, actually all the world is global, so everything that happens in the world can also affect us in a good or in a bad way, so it's something that we cannot control. But the residential market, it's much more protected because and can easily support any variation of the economy and any future crisis, like you were saying, because all the families, they need a house to live. And the offer of houses is kind of limited. We don't have a big free land to start building. There isn't a big number of new constructions running. So all the existing properties are safe investments, also very attractive for potential tenants. And even with some changes in the economy, the market have been shown himself very equilibrated in terms of offer and demand. So it's this kind of things gives protection to the investors.